I'm probably going to regret every second of this, but here we are, and there's no turning back. Hey guys, Nightfall here, and I know you're used to my X-Defiant videos, but today I decided we're going to change it up a bit. With the new Call of Duty Black Ops 6 beta just launching yesterday, I put up a poll on my YouTube channel earlier in the week to see if anyone was interested in seeing me play it live. And while Black Ops 6 did end up losing that poll, it was very close for the whole run and didn't end up losing by a ton. So against my better judgment, I downloaded the beta on my PC through Game Pass, fired it up, and now before we start getting into my thoughts on this game, let me preface this entire video by saying I absolutely hate Call of Duty. I've hated it for a long time now, and the last Call of Duty I played for more than 30 minutes was Call of Duty Big Red 1 on GameCube. The reason I hate Call of Duty is because when Modern Warfare 1 and 2 and even the original Black Ops started coming out, Halo was in its prime. It was at its peak, and I loved Halo. Halo 1, Halo 2, Halo 3 was a little shaky for me, but you get the picture. It was easily my favorite game at the time and my first online FPS game. These Call of Duty games sort of stole players from Halo, and thus all my friends swapped over and left Halo in the dust. I never really gave Call of Duty a fighting chance. In my mind, that was a grudge I was holding on to because it ruined the franchise that I really cared about. But I was like 14 at the time, so fast forward to a few years ago and a few friends of mine tried to get me to play Warzone. And I didn't have a great PC then, so I tried to play it on my Xbox. And every time I would load it up, I would get into the game right at the menu screen and the game would crash. So I was never really able to play it. The furthest I got was the tutorial and I got about halfway through and it crashed again. So from there, I kind of just gave up on Call of Duty again. But today is the day I answer the call. But will I stay up late every night whispering sweet nothings to it, or will I hang it up, block the number, and change my own? Let's find out. So immediately I was a little annoyed that I had loaded up the game and there's an update and it made me restart. Like, how is there an update? I literally just downloaded it 5 minutes ago. But then to add insult to injury, I got back in, and then within that game, which I thought was Black Ops 6, I found out it wasn't. It was some sort of launcher. So I clicked Black Ops 6, which then loaded up a new game, which was supposed to be Black Ops 6, and it did the same thing. Told me it needed an update. Restarted. Kind of dumb, but I finally got in the game, and let me just say, the load up screen and music and stuff where it's showing like Activision and Treyarch and all the developer tags and stuff, or whatever you want to call it, that's fire. But the menu music I am not a fan of. Needs to be toned down a lot. And I don't mean like volume. X-Defiant's menu music is chill and calming. Halo did it right. Starts slow, builds up, not a ton, and then drops down chill again. Once I got in, I was able to navigate menus freely, changed a couple settings with field of view and sensitivity, left the graphics alone for now. We'll talk about that later because I have seen a few comments about how people were getting low FPS on this game and it's not very optimized. So my first game in, obviously it's going to feel a little clunky, but I did end up playing 3 or 4 matches and this Omni movement feels like it's too much or it's just unfinished. I'm not sure how else to explain that, but it just feels very meh. Just feels off. I don't know. It's not bad. Like, I think it can be refined and adjusted and feel much smoother than it does. Granted, this is just the beta and things will change, so not going to really hold that against it. Also, the sensitivity, I changed a few times and it seems fine. It's more the acceleration. So it's like it starts off at my intended sensitivity, but the longer I try to look left, it just accelerates. Like if I have my sensitivity set to 8, the longer I hold it, it just goes 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 15. It just feels annoying, and I don't know if that's a setting that maybe I missed, but I do not like that. So in-game, besides movement and how it feels to look around, shooting feels pretty good, and a lot of these things I'm going to have to compare to X-Defiant because I haven't played any recent Call of Duties, so I don't really have much else to go on here. So the time to kill on this feels slightly faster than X-Defiant, and as far as I can tell with the hit reg and netcode goes, and I didn't watch too many kill cams, maybe like 1 or 2, but just from my point of view, the hit reg on here seems to be similar to X-Defiant on their unranked servers. I still maintain that X-Defiant's ranked servers are not the same and they are trash. but I still feel like I get shot around walls in this game, and sometimes my bullets aren't always registering even though I can see that I got a hit marker. So I'd say in that aspect the two games are about as even as can be right now, given this one is still in beta officially. X-Defiant's still a beta to me, but not officially. Anyway, the zones for things like domination and whatever this name is for X-Defiant's equivalent of Occupy, they aren't very well marked. Like, the icon is great, but once you get there to the zone, it can definitely be more apparent where the boundaries are for that zone. The score took me a second to find, but I chalked that up just to being used to X-Defiant and not really a knock on this game. So instead of it being on the top of the screen, it's on the left under the minimap. But I did manage to figure it out. The gadgets and stuff to be used that are in the lower right corner, that's not really apparent on how you use those anyway, but playing a bunch of FPS games, I managed to figure that out pretty quickly. And as far as the kill streaks or whatever that's down there just above the gadgets, I didn't even attempt to use them as I just wanted to focus on the gameplay itself for now. And in the few games I played, I don't feel I did too bad. Didn't really check my kills or anything, but I felt like I was doing decent, definitely felt like I went positive. Now, outside of the actual gameplay, let's talk about the user interface. This can be overwhelming when you're a new Call of Duty player like myself, and there's just so many things going on, and I didn't even attempt to try to navigate everything yet because it just seems like a lot. Everything seems just piled together, and it seems like it would be easy to overstimulate some people if you're not used to how Call of Duty manages their menus. I felt the same way when I came back to Madden in Ultimate Team mode, where there's just so much stuff to do. It's not very kind to new players, but I'm sure that it's possible and easy to adapt to if you keep playing more. But now let's talk about the quality and the FPS. I fiddled with a few of these settings, and I'm not sure if it was doing this the entire time or after I messed with one of the settings, but my OBS encoder was overloaded the whole time, and I'm not sure if it's actually coming through on the recording. But when I had OBS up on my other screen while I was playing, the game felt fine and smooth, but every time I looked over to see what OBS was seeing, it was very choppy, and that encoder overloaded warning was there the entire time. Even after I dropped a few settings in OBS to the fastest encoding with the lowest quality, it was still happening. So if that's coming through on the gameplay, I apologize. It didn't actually look like that for me, so don't think that was affecting my experience with the game or anything. But that just goes to show that it may not be optimized. I'll have to go in and revert settings to default and be super careful while I adjust if it turns out one of those settings caused it. Because just out of curiosity, I did go in and turn all the settings down to minimum just so I can see how many FPS I could get. And I was able to get out about 240-ish FPS at 1440p after I turned everything all the way down. And with the setup that I have, with it being a 4070 Super and an AMD 7800 X3D, I feel like I should be getting more. But maybe this is just a graphically intensive game. Don't really know. There are a couple of settings that are locked or became locked by turning other stuff down. Like my screen resolution option got locked at one point, and I'm not really sure why. It never told me, hey, change this to unlock this setting or anything. And I was able to change it freely between 1080 and 1440 before, as I was testing what kind of FPS I could get on each. And all of a sudden it just locked and I couldn't change it. But again, it's still in beta. These may just be bugs that need to be worked out, or maybe I'm an idiot and changed something that I wasn't supposed to. Overall, I'd have to revisit this at a later time and give it some more playtime to see if it's something I would continue playing or not. But it would definitely be more fun with friends. So yeah, that's about it. That's my opinion from somebody who absolutely hates Call of Duty. Doesn't feel like a terrible game. Feels like it's unpolished and unfinished, which with it being a beta, that's to be expected. If you want to see me revisit the game in the future when it actually officially launches and do more content on it, you're going to have to show out for this video. Probably going to need over 2,000 views and 200 or so likes for me to do more on this game. Otherwise, I'm headed back to X-Defiant, and I'll catch you in the next one.